हेलो एभ्रिवान, फेरि पनि तपाईँहरूलाई हाम्रो च्यानलमा स्वागत छ। आज चाहिँ जुन कति हो रे? जुन कि जुलाई? जुलाई 2 हो आज चाहिँ हाम्रो डेट चाहिँ। सो आज चाहिँ हामी टक्क घरबाट निक्लिसक्यौँ। आज चाहिँ अलिक छिट्टै छ, भर्खर बिहानको 8:40 भयो। अब चाहिँ हामी कहाँ जाँदैछौँ भन्दाखेरि यहाँबाट चाहिँ हामी काममा जाँदैछौँ। तर आज जुलाई 1मा चाहिँ दिनुपर्ने हो, तर 2nd दिँदा हुन्छ। त्यही भएर हामी चाहिँ चेक दिन गइरहेछौँ घरबेटी आमालाई।
अहिले घरबेटी आमा चाहिँ आएको छैन, त्यही भएर त्यहाँबाट हामीले चाहिँ त्यहाँबाट ड्रप गरिदिएर अनि हामी चाहिँ टक्क जानुपर्ने हुन्छ। सो त्यही भएर अब हामी चाहिँ ड्युटी जानुपर्ने हुन्छ। आज चाहिँ 9 बजे छ। सो 9 बजेबाट ड्युटी छ। सो हामी चाहिँ चाँडै जाँदैन छ। अहिले चाहिँ हाम्रो गाडीमा 8:45 भइसकेको छ। आज चाहिँ मौसम चिल छ। हिजो चाहिँ भयङ्करै पानी पऱ्यो, हावाहुरी पनि आएर पुरै छ नि। त्यो रुखहरू बाटोतिरको रुखसुख ढालिदिएर हावाहुरी पुरै कति ठाउँमा त बत्ती गएर त्यस्तो भएको थियो। सो अनि आज चाहिँ मौसम चिल छ। हिजो चाहिँ खत्रै पानी पऱ्यो। सो अब हामी चाहिँ ड्युटी जाँदैछौँ। सो फाइनली हामी चाहिँ ड्युटी आइसक्यौँ। अनि त्यहाँबाट घाम चाहिँ झलमल लागिरहेछ। अनि त्यहाँबाट एकदम फ्रेस देखिरहेछ। अनि त्यहाँ टक्क लगाएर हामी चाहिँ हामी भन्दा नि अब म दाइहरू चाहिँ माइन घुम्न अन्डरग्राउन्ड यहाँ बोन टेरको माइन घुम्न जाँदैछौँ। सो लेट्स गो।
Last one in, close the door for me.
पानी चुहिरहेको रहेछ। त्यो भूत फिल्ममा देखाउने जस्तो छ।
So I talk about quite a few things throughout the walking tour. Because most of the time, whenever I do get questions on the walking tour, it's usually about stuff that I usually talk about. But if you want to, you can ask a few questions here and there if you really need to. So brief history before we keep on going down that way behind me there. So Bonne terre mine was actually a lead and mineral mine that was in operation for just over 100 years. We were actually in operation from 1860 to 1962. Now, the first 9 years, 1860 to 1869, were actually not spent down here at all. They were actually spent up on the surface while we were doing some surface mining upstairs. Now, the reason as to why we did surface mining for those first 9 years was actually we are in part of the old lead belt, Missouri. And in the mid-1800s, this area was actually so abundant in lead that it was actually in massive pillars on the surface. So that's why they did that first. And then in 1869, we put in our first elevator shaft, which I will actually show you in just a minute, or a few minutes. And then from 1869 to 1962, we actually spent those 93 years down here, getting to about 500 feet below the surface. And we actually have 5 separate levels. We're actually on level 1. We're about 70 foot down right now. Down at the bottom of that hill where that ore cart is, if you look down that way, we're going to go down here in just a second. That is still level 1. And that's about 100 foot down at the bottom of the hill there. And then if you guys turn around, right down here, that is level 2. And right around this pillar right here on the right there, around that corner there, that's our dock. We're going to get there in about 20-30 minutes or so. And we're going to take our little boat ride. And that's on level 2, like I said. So whenever we're on our boat, we're actually technically still on level 2, but we're floating over level 3, and then levels 4 and 5 are underwater. Do you guys have any questions before we get going? No? Okay. Head on down. Operational history. So the first shift was the blasting crew. They took care of the dynamite, obviously. Set it up, got everybody out of here before they detonated the dynamite, of course. Once dynamite was detonated, they would have waited a period of 2 to 4 hours, depending on how much dynamite they used for the dust to settle, before they let the engineers come in, which was the second shift. What the engineers did, they took care of any loose rocks on the ceiling, pillars, and or walls, so that the laborers who took care of these ore carts, so there's this one right here, which is a 1-ton ore cart, did not have any risk of any falling boulders to be on top of them, from the ceiling, pillars, etc. So, third shift was laborers, as I said. They took care of this one. And also, I might as well mention, each of the 1-ton ore carts were worth about $1 back in the 1800s. There isn't a really good example of the stuff on the ground in this area specifically. I will show you an example of that on the ground in a little bit. But what this white stuff is actually calcium deposit. Now, calcium is actually the most abundant mineral that is deposited down here all throughout. So what I'm shining my light on here, this black or gray, with a little sparkle on it, or the sparkles in general, that is actually the lead ore that I was talking about just a second ago, which is galena, or the rock that houses lead. Now the cool thing about galena, it is actually 86% lead, 24% silver, so that's what the sparkle comes from. And this is also a very good example as to where they could only find this in the final days of operation in 1962. Which was not very safe places to get to it, which was like in the pillars and in the walls. So they pretty much closed us down after they declared us mined out out of safety reasons. Now this little railing right in front of me, or right across from me, guys, is actually what we call the Clinton shaft. This is actually the first elevator shaft that they dug in here back in 1869 after doing the 9 years of surface mining. Now, whenever they first put this in, believe it or not, this is actually not a natural cave, not a natural cavern. So all of this down here that we've seen, so believe it or not, this is actually, or the shaft itself is actually under our game room, which is the third building down to the bathrooms if you used them before we came down. And then also, and what this black stuff that I'm shining my light on, as well as the black stuff on the ground, but you can't touch on the stuff on the ground though, whereas the stuff on the walls you cannot touch because the oils on your hands can actually make the growing process of that slow down or stop completely if you touch it enough. So like I said earlier, white is the calcium, black is manganese, and I got some right here if you want to look at that. And then also, like I said, you touch the stuff on the ground, whether it be black or white. There is a little bit of calcium. Where'd that one go? No, there was some over here. Well, anything that kind of like looks like that. Calcium, you can touch that too. I thought there was a better. I guess not. Or I thought there was. But anyway, if you guys want to look at over that railing too, you guys can do that. So everybody else in the back can see this. Of the walls going down to 70 feet underwater. And then at the bottom of the 70 feet of water, that's actually the floor of level 3. So real quick guys, this big pipe coming down the ceiling that you see over this railing right here in front of us, it's actually one of our 13 water pumps. So we have 12 other ones throughout the mine just like this one. This is the only one that we see on tour. So back in the day while we were in operation, we did use where he could actually teach his diving students to dive in actual water without booking a pool or anything like that. Because depending on how the weather is and all that stuff, we actually pump out about 1 million gallons out of here in about a week. But onto local lakes, rivers, such as the Big River, for example, onto your the next thing I'm going to show you, that's around this bridge and I'm walking towards. Now, I'm going to shine my light on it and I'm going to tell you what you're going to look for. There's going to be a big crack in the ceiling, but I'm going to shine my light on it. What that big crack in the ceiling is, I'm going to shine my light at. That is actually a finger, a little small part of the new. Divers down there, so I'm thinking they're going to go in the water pretty soon. So we might see them jumping in the water. Bottom there. Enjoy your boat ride.
भन्दा अगाडि हामी
Alright, so
आइपुग्यौँ
now you guys hang out in this area. I'm gonna grab your life jackets or I'm gonna grab as many as I can in one go. And then if I need to grab any remaining ones, I'll grab them. And we'll put those on. And we'll get on the boat.
त्यो गङ्गटै हो र कि नक्कली होला त्यो के हो क्लियर केमिकल हाल्दा नि यस्तो क्लियर हुँदैन यहाँनिर त्यत्तिकै भयो
There was one time, like 2 months after I started working here, I was jumping on the dock like when we do it again. Like this guy going, yeah. And my foot just ramp. While I was jumping in, my other foot was in. I had a good grip, and my foot hit that, and I almost fell in. The thing I had that way too good of a scare. Yeah. And then are you guys? Or
This is my group back here. I think they're a group of 4 there.
okay. So I'm gonna have you guys. I'm gonna have my group of 8 towards the back. So I'm gonna have you guys right here. Right on this row, guys.
कतिजना अगाडि छ हजुर छेउमा एउटा भिडियो गरौँ कति निकाल्नु मात्र भएपछि 2000
So am I, really, in reality.
Good.
Straight down. Pretty chilly. Especially without a whip. Or dry food. Let's plank, guys, to watch the
दुईटा
Martha, isn't it?
Oh,
के एउटा
quite a few of them.
Yes, right?
Fish. Oh, I couldn't tell you from here.
पानी परेर रोकिसक्यो पानी चाहिँ खत्रै पानी पर्यो होइन टक्क आज पनि त्यस मौसम चाहिँ दामी दामी छ अनि त्यहाँबाट त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ हिजो टक्क लाएर हावा चलेर रुखै भाँचिएको थियो त्यहाँनिर चाहिँ पुरै त्यसरी हिजो चाहिँ बब्बालाई हावाहुरी चलेर अनि पुरै त्यो पनि भाँचिदिएको छ अनि उयो यतापट्टि पनि एउटा भाँचिएको छ फेरि अझै पर्ला जस्तो छ बादल चाहिँ त्यस्तो लागिरहेको छ हेरौँ कत्रो पर्छ पानी त जो एक लड चाहिँ खत्रै परेर अझै पुरै यस्तो यस्तो पानी जमिरहेछ अनि त्यहाँनिर पर पनि एउटा भाँचिदिएको छ रुख त्यहाँ पर चाहिँ एउटा सानो पिच्चेले चाहिँ पटक्का पड्काइरहेको छ यहाँनिर चाहिँ पुरै अब नेपालमा चाहिँ तिहारमा पड्काउँछ नि त यहाँनिर चाहिँ टक्क जुलाई 4 आज 2 भयो पर्सि पड्काउँछ सो त्यो पिक्चर चाहिँ त्यहाँनिर पटक्का पड्काएर पानी परेपछि चाहिँ पुरै यस्तो छ मौसम चाहिँ फाइनली हाम्रो घडीमा चाहिँ 10 बजिसक्छ अब चाहिँ टक्क लगाएर हामी चाहिँ घर जानुपर्ने हुन्छ ड्युटी चाहिँ सकिसक्यो अनि त्यहाँबाट आज चाहिँ हामी बोन टेर के भन्छ अरे बोन टेर माइन टुर्स गऱ्यो सो अन्डरग्राउन्ड माइन हो त्यो चाहिँ गुफा हो त्यो चाहिँ तिमी आज चाहिँ एकदम रमाइलो भयो अब फर्स्ट टाइममै भनौँ न अब त्यत्रो ठुलो गुफा होइन अब यो चाहिँ अब मानव निर्मित हो क्या सो अब त्यो गुफामा चाहिँ आज टुर लाग्यो सो रमाइलो भयो तपाईँलाई कस्तो लाग्यो भिडियो प्लिज कमेन्ट गरिदिनु होला अनि मन पऱ्यो भने लाइक गरिदिनु होला अनि फर्स्ट टाइम हेर्दै हुन्छ प्लिज सब्सक्राइब गरिदिनु होला अनि टक्क अब हामी चाहिँ अझै टक्क घर जान लागिसक्यो अनि घर गएर खानासाना बनाएर खाएर सुत्नुपर्ने हुन्छ भोलि फेरि 8 बजेको ड्युटी छ सो आजलाई चाहिँ भिडियो यहीँ हिँड्नु गर्छौँ अनि त्यहाँबाट जे होस् अन्डरग्राउन्डमा नै त्यत्रो ठुलो के भन्छ त्यो गुफा देखेको थिएन जे होस् घुमियो बोर्डमा घुमेर आयो जे होस् रमाइलो हो